How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Today on the pod, we're going to be talking with one of the newest installment members of the RTS team, Colin Szuch. He just came off of a podium third place finish behind Lionel and Sam at St. George North American champs. And needless to say, it's been a breakthrough race for him. So it's fun getting to jump into a bit of his backstory and hear about all of the things he has going on and floating around his mind during this awesome and just crazy time. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to my friend, Colin.
I drove back yesterday.
How many hours?
8 hours? But I got to stop in Monument National Park, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. First time?
Yeah, it's amazing there. Need to go
That's
back.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So where are you from?
Well, I'm from Colorado initially.
Okay.
I'm actually born and raised here.
Okay.
And I trained part-time in Spain, so not really from there, but I know the area.
Yeah. That's awesome. What and as far as going over to Spain, do you go there anymore, or was that just a phase that you kind of went over there to train, or?
No, I still go back. I have a place there, so I like to go when I can. The road cycling is incredible, and just the level of competition there, like
just next
in
level.
The swimming pool alone is insane. Like you're swimming next to Vincent Louis, and like oh my god, it's insane.
Yeah, humbling experience, I bet. Well, cool, man. Well, first things first, thank you so much for taking the time and making this happen relatively short notice post St. George. So really appreciate you making it happen and for being on. It's a pleasure to meet you and looking forward to getting to connect with you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So first question, it's one of my favorite questions to ask on this podcast is, from your perspective, who is Colin?
Oh. Well, it's hard. It's hard to identify yourself as like one particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I could probably identify myself as like what I am. I'm an adventurous person, and I like to have a vision and follow it through. Like no matter what it is, like a triathlon or whatever it is. I like to, like, even if everyone tells me you can't do it, I like to go for it regardless.
Yeah. Sweet. So do you think that's more of like a nature or a nurture characteristic about yourself, that drive and passion and focus?
Probably a nature thing. But you never know. It's hard to identify. It's just always the way I've been, like overly ambitious and kind of just go for it regardless.
Yeah. What is like one of the earliest childhood memories you have of being that way, and what was the thing you were going after?
Well, I've raced my entire life. My mom would always throw me in whenever it raced since I was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And my sister was really, really fast. And she still is. not to throw on it, but like, she would beat me. Like she's 2 years younger than me, my little sister, and we'd race like these local 5Ks. And she could run like a 17-minute 5K, 18-minute 5K easy at 12, 11.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah, but I couldn't do that. So it's hard, like being 2 years older and seeing your little sister just whip your butt every other weekend.
Yeah.
So it kind of taught me some important lessons from a young age, like to race my own race and like to be, not so dependent on results, maybe your own process.
Yeah, that's amazing to have those lessons that early on. I feel like a lot of even pros who've been around quite a while still struggle with trying to learn that lesson, like racing your own race. It's becoming more common, I would say, but definitely something that takes a while to learn typically.
Yeah, especially in triathlon where, I mean, I haven't had the best swims, so you come out of the water sometimes and you hear like 4 minutes down, and like it's easy to think like, okay, it's over, like, but if you kind of have the mindset of like, well, there's still like a long day ahead, and like if you keep that optimistic mindset that it can turn around, oftentimes it does.
Yeah, for sure. It depends on I guess the day you're having and how your mental preparation and how life stress is going. Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into that kind of stuff for sure. I've been on both sides. Sometimes the race is going really great, enjoy the day. Other times super hard and all you want to do is quit, which I'm sure you've experienced some of that as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've walked quite a few Ironmans now, so
Yeah.
I've experienced it.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about your mom and your dad. Would you say that you're more like your mom or more like your dad?
I'm more like my mom. My
Yeah.
mom's the same way, just kind of like she'll she'll do whatever it takes. Like we're starting a business, or like she also did some pro mountain biking back in the day.
Okay.
So she's just ruthlessly competitive as well. Even with
Mm,
us,
really?
still now she competes with my sister, and yeah. But my dad's the more like level-headed, calm, like has a plan. So they
Mm-hmm.
work well together. It's just
Yeah.
maybe I have a little bit of both, but more my mom.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So with your mom, you said starting a business, entrepreneurial, your mother?
Yeah, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
She had like a personal training business and then some other real estate stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, she's always been like uh, figuring out a new way to do things, whether it could be in the business world or sports or whatever.
Yeah. Do you find that you're similar in your interests outside of triathlon?
Yeah, I am. Uh, I I like to. Our family's huge in sport, so that's a lot of what we talk about. But
Yeah.
we like to talk about like you know world politics or whatever. Just like debate both sides of the issue. Like
Mm,
just yeah, that's kind of the way our family works.
yeah. Yeah, pretty focused on being open-minded, like that you would say that's a quality of the family.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And even like with we'll debate like training philosophies or pretty much anything. And there isn't like a set way to do something. Maybe there could be multiple ways to skin a cat, if that's the analogy.
Mhm. Yeah. So, how old are you, Colin?
I'm 23.
Okay. So, zoom out a little bit. I'm trying to ask a question because I know at 23, so I'm trying to think back when I was 23. I'm going on 33 now. Seems like it was just yesterday. But when I was 21, I think that's when I really started to pick apart the, for lack of a better word, just worldview that I had grown up with, and then figured out like how I would apply or change or mold that worldview as I got a little bit older. So I'm curious to hear for you, like zoom out a little bit for me. What are the things that help create the filter or the way that you kind of perceive and experience the world? We can go politics, religion, training philosophy, just your overall characteristics of mindset around that you value, perseverance and, you know, shooting big, but staying focused.
Yeah. Well, throughout my life, I've had like similar things. Like I moved to Spain when I was 19, and
Very
it
young.
was kind of hard. Like it was a completely new world to me, and
Mm,
new language, new people, new team, and so I got to meet tons of interesting people that had like new perspectives on the world. Not that I'm like the most worldly person, but I got to see a lot of interesting, even ways of training in triathlon, and yeah, just the different people you meet in Spain. There's like people from all over Europe and some from Africa and Asia.
mm,
So that was a really neat experience at that young age.
yeah. Yeah, so keep going for me if you don't mind me prying a little bit more, but like because you said like your family you like to straddle both sides of the aisle and come to I guess just kind of debating the issues. Do you find that it's difficult for you to stand on one side of the aisle and kind of like dig in, or what does it take for you to solidify your stance in something you think?
I wouldn't say it's solidifying a stance. I would say it's more just like having a conversation with anyone, like
Mm-hmm.
about anything. Like I think a lot of people have different perspectives on things
Mm-hmm.
for certain reasons. Like they've had certain experiences in their life that make them have that perspective. And
Yeah.
it's always interesting to hear that, like just hearing it from not like an emotional perspective, just hearing it from like why do you think that, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
then what makes you think that?
Yeah.
I've always found like some very interesting things from that.
Mm. Who do you think is the person that in your world of influence right now? I'm assuming it's going to be in triathlon, who pushes you to think a little bit differently, maybe than how you're used to thinking. Do you have any of those kind of people?
I started triathlon when I was like started professional triathlon when I was 19,
Yeah.
and I started just watching YouTube videos. Like I would watch Lionel Sanders and Sam Long around that time frame,
Mm.
and they were doing just insane training. That was kind of like it was different. It was really different. Like I know, like Lionel was doing the intensity, and Sam Long was doing the crazy run volume close to where I'm
Hmm.
at, and I found that so inspiring. Both of them, like just they kind of have a method for like their reasons, and they're going for it regardless of like what what media is telling them about like the
This is what
best
you should or
training
shouldn't
course.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of formed my basis, and then the more experience I've gotten, the more I've realized that like there isn't a set model
Mm.
to anything, racing, training, life.
Yeah.
It really is all up for debate.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely shared that thought because the older I've gotten, yeah, it seems like the world is definitely more gray. And just because you mentioned Lionel and Sam, I think this is an appropriate time to just ask you this one question, and then we will dive into the race that recently happened. But I'm curious, from you starting in this profession at a young age on YouTube, watching these guys, and then finding yourself at the race this past weekend where you're standing on the podium with them, like you're in the mix for that. What was that? What was going through your mind, and how has that affected just the belief in yourself?
Yeah, I couldn't. I knew it was possible, like from the training I've done. I
Mm-hmm.
knew it was a possibility, but I never quite imagined being there until like the final mile. I was like, this could happen. Like there's a chance. Like don't say it's gonna happen. And then when I crossed the line and it kind of set in, like I was throwing up and crying at the same time because
Yeah.
it's been 4 years of like just dedication, and
Yeah.
then like finally achieving that, and
Mm.
like being literally standing on the same podium with your idols. It was pretty surreal.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. So this is where I want to take a pause for a second and I want to rewind the clock. Tell me about your first interaction with the sport of triathlon and take me through the journey of how you came to a place to realize, oh, like I can be professional at this.
Oh, what's funny is I've always thought it was a possibility and I could do it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really start until I was 19. I wanted to run in college, and I thought after college, then I could go after it. But I came to the realization at 19 that if you want to truly have a chance in the sport, you have to start then. Like
Mm.
it's really hard to start later, and it's just because the sport takes so much experience,
Mm.
whether it's gear, training, anything. It takes years to finally like figure out how to do it. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this, and I only had a mountain bike at the time, and so I was like, I'm signing up for the Xterra, and I've been following some other pros that were also going to do it. I think Sam Long was also there,
Yeah.
and Eric
Eric
Lagerstrom,
Lagerstrom. Is this the one down
and
in
so
Georgia?
no, this was about an hour away from here
Okay,
in
nice.
Beaver Creek.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I did it when I was a kid as well, so I knew the course, which made it pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then on that race, I I forget exactly what place I got, but I beat some of the top pros, and I was like, okay, maybe I have a chance. So after that, it was just full gas triathlon.
Yeah. Who have been some of the key mentors that have helped you like jump on that learning curve from, I mean, the bike alone, just knowing how to get the right bike, how to work on your own bike, and then finding your own bike, and then the training surrounding that. Like I figure there's so many things to learn. Who have been kind of the key mentors in your experience?
Well, I was on the mountain bike team, like a mountain bike team when I was young, and a road cycling team as well. But I mean, when you're young, you don't really quite know exactly what you're doing and why. You just kind of like learn the basic techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started like really going after triathlon, I knew it would be hard to do it alone. Like I train in Evergreen, Colorado, and there aren't many triathletes here. I think there's a couple, and there aren't any pros. And all the pros are in Boulder. So I'll go down there when I could. But I realized that like if I want to have a chance, I would probably need to go to Europe or somewhere like that because the level of cycling there and the opportunities are pretty good. And then I got an opportunity. I saw that there was like a academy in
Okay.
Spain called the Girona Racing Academy,
Oh yeah, I know
and
them.
it was a cycling and triathlon team. So I was like, perfect. And I think within a week, I was there after seeing the academy. So I was just like, whatever it takes, I'm going. And I got access to bikes, guys that wanted to turn pro, and we're all living in the same house with the same goals, talking cycling nonstop for a year and a half, year,
Wow.
and you learn so much in that time, like how to handle your bike, how how to train appropriately, like how
Mm-hmm.
cyclists train, and maybe how not to train as well. I also
Yeah.
learned that.
What'd you learn really
and
quick?
yeah, yeah, and I also got access to some really nice bikes and equipment. And in Girona, there's a bike shop within every 20 meters. There's a new bike shop, and
Hmm.
so I mean it was the easiest cycling in the world. You go from your front door, and there's a climb 5 minutes away with World Tour cyclists on it every single day.
Yeah.
It was the best experience I could have asked for there.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. So with the people that you were meeting there, like was it a humbling experience? Did you suddenly realize like, oh, I have a long way to go? Or did it give you, I guess, more inspiration to realize like, oh, I actually have this. Like I think I can get where I need to go.
A little bit of both. I had that was the first time I did like a training camp at sea level because I
Mm.
was at 7,000 feet the entire time. So it was
Yeah.
hard to see like what power numbers you could do. And
Mm.
then when I got there, I like it was like, oh, okay, like I can push bigger numbers than I anticipated. But then you would look at the segment for that climb, and some world tour guy would have it at 7 watts per kilogram. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's where the level is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally different. So what you said earlier, like that it was good, but it was hard. What was hard about the move and getting there and the just that whole thing?
A little bit of homesickness, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's so far away. You leave all your friends, and of course there you make new friends there, but you kind of wish you're like, like did I am I sacrificing everything
Hmm.
to do this? And in a way, you're sacrificing a lot, but I mean the experience. I mean, I don't know if I could beat it.
Yeah,
Anything else?
for yeah, for sure. Man, I can only imagine. So were your parents supportive of this move? Because I would assume like you took a sabbatical or kind of said no to college and decided that this was the path you were going to take. How did the support come through or not?
Yeah, I was. I was honestly surprised they were willing to support me on this.
Yeah.
With like, just I just had a belief in myself. That was the
Hmm.
only thing I could tell them was like, I believe I can do this. That like I didn't have any other data to back it up.
Yeah, just
I was
cold
like,
hard
I'm
belief.
strong on the bike. I'm okay on the swim, and I can run. Like that's it. That's all I can say. And I also had support from my college as well. That was really critical. Like
Mm.
to train for that Xterra, they let me take a semester off. Like
Wow.
didn't keep my financial aid, and I could just train triathlon and also do school. And that really gave me the time to like figure out that I wanted to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Did you ever struggle with the belief, like in these past 4 years, that like you could do this? Was there any ever a time when you thought, maybe this isn't the way I want it to go?
Not really. I've always thought like, yeah, I can do this. Um, like of course I got sick a few times,
Hmm.
and in Girona with those guys, I overtrained and put myself into a hole for months.
Oh, well.
Because I was just, you're training with these guys, and everyone's like, "Oh, what did you do today? What did you do today?" So you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna do an hour more, or 2 hours more, or 4 hours more,"
Yeah, the
and then,
competition.
yeah, and then like a few months later, you're done. Like
Mm.
there's nothing left. And you go show up to a race, and like you're just sleepy and tired.
Yeah, for sure. So for a lot of people, they're just now probably getting wind of your name. Obviously, you have a lot of friends. You've been in the sport a while, so you know a lot of people. But from like the outside looking in, the people who maybe follow the sport from a more recreational standpoint, they're just now kind of seeing you come on the scene. Obviously, you have beyond even 4 years of experience in this sport, and a lot has happened that have been stepping stones. Like I imagine it didn't just happen overnight. Like there's a lot of work that goes into this. So, what were some of the, in your mind, key stepping stones that led you to the result you were able to have on Saturday?
Well, it was really learning how to train and race the way my body responds. I had to go through every different model of training to find the right one. Like I tried the big volume, and that didn't work for me. I tried the super high intensity stuff, and that didn't work for me. And over the past, I would say maybe like 9 months, I've really figured to use the middle ground, especially with altitude. Like I train like not low volume, but I can't train like 30 hours, 36 hours a week. And
Yep.
I also need like the right blend of intensity. Where if it's too much, like my body starts to like break down physically,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't run that big a volume. Like the key sessions are a long run and a threshold run, and then just running and then cycling a lot more volume with like a key two threshold sessions and an endurance ride. And I kind of figured the right balance between both. So that's kind of been a major stepping stone. And
Mm.
then also like getting nutrition right's been a big one for me. When I first started the sport, I was really skinny. Like I was like 6'2" and 140 pounds, 135
Holy
pounds.
smokes! Yeah.
Yeah, because like running, I had this stupid philosophy that
Mm.
like lighter is better, which was
Mm-hmm.
not true. I'm running so much better now, and I weigh 25 pounds more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How were you able to put on weight? Was this like very regimented? Because I would assume you have pretty high metabolism. It was hard to put on weight.
Yeah, actually, I put it on in Girona, like just eating an insane amount of food. There's a pastry shop like 100 meters from my
Nice.
house. I was there every
Put him out of
day.
business.
Yeah. She thought I was buying for other people. Like she was like, do you have family here? And I was like, no, it's just me. And she's like, do you have friends that you're buying it for? No. These 7 croissants are for me.
Yeah, that's wild. So for the pressure like now, because you have this result, and it seems to me from the outside looking in, and I've experienced this a little bit, obviously not to your level, but when somebody gets on the scene, they get a level of notoriety. There's a level of expectation externally that people start to put on you, which can reflect internally for the amount of pressure and expectations that one places on themselves. Um, my question to you is like, what do you feel any of that yet? And if you do, are you going to do anything to combat it to try to stay and keep it where like a similar mindset as before? Like try to be in the background and, whatever happens, happens. Does that make sense? It's kind of poorly phrased.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. My philosophy is still the same. Like, I probably had more pressure 2, 3 years ago when I had nothing, like nothing to show for it. Because
Yeah.
then it was really like, believe in me, please. Like, I can do this. And now I have something to be like, okay, like maybe like this can happen. And
Mm.
I mean, I like to race just like go for it no matter what. Even like if they said I was 15 minutes down at a swim, I'm still gonna ride and bike as hard as I can. It doesn't matter. Like,
Mm.
and I saw it like a great example of that was Christian in Oceanside. Like, he was so far behind, but when I could see him in the lap section, and he would look at his watch when he was going past me, even though I was like in 11th place at the time, like I wasn't having a great day, but he didn't care. He was going for it no matter what. Every second counted.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of that fighter mentality. Like, it's trained. Like, if you quit the race, you'll quit in training, and then you
Mm.
quit again in the next race. But if you fight through it and kind of like keep going, I think at the next race, when you're having a good day, you can kind of put in that extra fight. If that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When people get to know you just in passing, when they don't actually sit down, get to talk with Colin, figure out a bit more of the depth of who you are, what do you think generally the by and large the impression is that people have when they like hear about you or get to know you a little bit?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's hard to say what other people think of you. Uh, maybe I hope they think like I'll fight for the place no matter what. Like, when I show up to a race, I'm there. I'll give it everything I got. That's what I hope people think. Um, but I would hope people also think like I'm a relaxed guy. You know, I'm not like I'm not mean to anyone before a race, or like I don't have any like particularly uh, any rivalries or hatred towards anyone in the sport.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope that's what people think, that like I'm here to like give it my best effort, and
Yeah.
yeah, race. I kind of race for myself and see what I can do, regardless of like what any placement or numbers say.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my first impression I would say is definitely passionate, driven. You want to make something happen. Yeah, young, and I say that with like the best in the best way because I think being so young and being able to have some of the success I guess that you've seen from a racing perspective so far just goes to show like you're not even near your pinnacle yet, and there's so much left to do. So I think that's super encouraging. Just from the outside looking in, like I'm stoked to know you. So I guess the next question I'd love to ask is coaching. Like we've talked about the philosophy a little bit. It sounds like you're self-coached. Is that the case?
Yeah, yeah. I've been self-coached, I would say 95% of the 4 years. So,
Well,
like, and I think I'm able to do it because I'm able to like really separate myself from the training
mm-hmm.
and like the emotional side of it. And
Mm,
like if things aren't going well, I'm able to be like, okay, well, let's break this down, kind of like put on the coaching hat, and and then I'm also willing to like change things quickly if things aren't working, which is hard to do with a coach because a lot of coaches have like a way they do things, and it's hard to break that. Whereas if you're self-coached, it gives you the ability to really like look at everything,
mm,
like what's worked for me in the past, how I'm feeling, sickness, races coming up. There's so much to take into account
mm.
where and things change so quickly. At least for me in the sport, like a little niggle will come up, and I'll be like, okay, this session has to change for this session, and I don't like having to deal with like getting permission to
Yeah,
change that.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. So you think that you'll stay self-coached for the foreseeable future then?
Well, funny enough, I'm looking to change things at least on the swim front because after St. George, I was pretty disappointed
Yeah.
because my pool times are getting faster and faster and faster. But yeah, it almost seems like I've regressed in the open water. So I
Yeah.
got to. There's experts in this world, and I'd like to talk with them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, now I'd love to, if I don't know if you've done any sort of like a race recap. If you're interested, I would love to hear just from your perspective, if you don't mind sharing that whole day. Like what was going on in your mind? How did it play out for you? Kind of the step by step. We heard a little bit at the end, like, you got to the last mile and you weren't even ready then to say, like, oh, yeah, I got this to get on the podium.
Yeah. Well, I'll start a couple days before the race.
Yeah, that's
I
beautiful.
like I had this like hamstring just this leg issue. It was
Hmm.
just this tightness in the leg, and I was able to run, but it was there the whole time. And so I decided 3 days out from the race, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna. The fitness is there. I'm just not gonna run the Tuesday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I'll see how it feels on the warm up for race day. And then the travel there was super easy. It was a 90-minute flight. My dad drove, so the bikes, so it was already ready. And I like the area. It was so fun. And I went with my sister, so it was good to have the whole family there. And I felt pretty calm. Like I knew the course would suit me. And I kind of knew how I'd want to play it. That this is a bike heavy course, and I'm just gonna bike it like there's no run because I know my run fitness is there, and I know people are gonna try to like conserve a little bit till Snow
Yeah.
Canyon. At least I thought so, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna blitz the bike as well as I can. And I had some good sessions that week on the bike where I was like, okay, the fitness is there. If the power meter's not broken, I'm really fit. But sometimes it's like, oh, you have to wait till race day to really see. And then when like race morning, I felt really calm. I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. That was like the first time I ever snoozed my alarm to get like an extra 20 minutes of sleep.
Yeah.
The show kind of like I was relaxed and
Yeah.
going in the water. Actually, it was like, oh, I'm gonna have a great swim. Like this is gonna be easy. And the first 100 meters was just fighting. Like I was just like hitting everyone was hitting everyone. You're trying to get
Mm.
through without slowing down, just having a random fight with someone.
Yeah.
So it the swim, like I thought I was in a good place, got in the water, and
Can you hear me? I think I may have lost you. Can you hear me? So the last thing I heard was you were getting in the swim. You were expecting it to be easy. You were beating. Everybody was beating each other up. And then that's kind of where it jumped out.
okay. Well, so I could see a couple of swim caps, and I thought I saw Cam Wharf's swim cap, but I
Yeah.
think it was Sam Long's. And I thought because Cam Wharf had a great swim in Oceanside, so I was like, okay, this I should come out of the water probably with Jackson Laundry should be around here. There'll
Mm-hmm.
be some good firepower. And then I got out of the water. I heard 3 minutes, and I ran the transition, and I saw Lionel's bike was gone, and I was like, oh no, that's not good. That's
Yeah.
really
It's not.
bad.
Yeah.
So I just grabbed my bike. I looked over. I saw Sam Long was right there. Like, okay, cool. Like, at least there's someone to work with here. And then Sam Long was going pretty hard from
From
the
the gun.
gun. And so, all right, if I just kind of like just hang back just outside the draft zone, like, and just kind of follow him all the way through, I should be okay. But the legs were like feeling really, really good. Where it was almost like, come on, Sam, like let's go faster, let's go faster. And I was so far out of the water, like there were so many guys. So it felt really good, like just going around. And
Yeah.
then I caught a Cam Worth and Trevor Foley, and then they caught on to Sam as well. And then we kind of went through, and there was some pack dynamics. There was some yelling about like don't pass me, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go through. But I mean, the referee was right there, and the racing was just like it was really fast, and there was a lot going on. So it was just like if I saw the red light, I was going through no matter what.
Yeah.
Um,
Hectic.
yeah, yeah, and I wasn't gonna risk a penalty, especially like with that kind of bike. I was like, I have the fitness where I'll just go around. It doesn't really matter. Um, and I kind of worked my way up, like to the packs, and I was getting like I saw like someone said like sixth place, fifth place, fourth place, and then at Snow Canyon, I saw Sam Long really, really ramped it up. Like that's where he started to like really put down some big watts. And I was
Mm-hmm.
surprised because like on the other hills he wasn't doing as well. He had like a giant chainring. I don't know what it was, 60,
60
60.
tooth.
Jesus. Yeah, that's pretty big. I had a
Mm-hmm.
58 and I thought that was like on the limit. But
Mm-hmm.
so going up Snow Canyon, he just like stepped on the gas and must have been doing I don't know 440 watts or something. It was nuts. I didn't even have a power meter on because I didn't want to see. Like I didn't want
Oh,
it to
really?
mess with my head for the run.
Yeah.
And I eventually caught I think Seth Ryder right at the top of the hill, and I was able to like get a little bit of a gap on the descent. But like going through town, I had a close call. There was a guy who I don't know why he just wasn't looking around. He was just looking straight down, and he was running across the road. And I figured like if I was fast enough and kind of like got over to the side, I could get around him. But
Oh, my
it
goodness.
was like it was that close. And then I looked at the speed right afterwards, and it was like 47 miles per hour.
Oh,
So
my
it would
goodness,
have been
dude.
like a horrible crash. But
Probably
really
kill the
happy
dude.
that didn't happen. And it kind of
Yeah.
like got me like a little startled and like re-energized for the run.
Mm. I'm alive.
Yeah, yeah. And so I had a good transition, and then I from the first hill up the diagonal, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a lot of suffering. The legs like they they suffered a lot going up Snow Canyon, and now like this run, it was hot, it was hilly, this golf course, and so I was like, I'm gonna stay in third place and just mile by mile. Like next mile, I want to just stay in third place, stay
Mm.
in third place, stay in third place. And I could hear the splits, and like I knew on the second lap, I was really suffering. I could feel like I lost the bottles on the bike, so I could feel the dehydration coming a little bit.
Mm.
And so I was like, all right. And the aid stations were hard to get water. It was just like a little tiny sip of water, and you're just grabbing as many cups as you can, and there's just not enough. And so, like, I knew Kevin McDowell was coming, and I knew he was a fast ITU runner, and
Mm-hmm.
he probably would have some wheels if it came down to a sprint. So it couldn't come down to a sprint.
Yeah.
And like that final there's two laps, and then kind of at the beginning of the lap's a climb, and so I was just like, if I make it to the top of the hill on the second lap, I think I can keep it, I can keep the gap. And so I was just like I was like almost like completely spent, and I could hear the
Mm.
splits, and even like I got some really amazing support on course from like other pros, like
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Herring, right at like the critical limit, at the critical point, at the top of the second lap. Jackie was like, "Come on, you're in this. Like, go, just go. Like, this is the hardest part. Like, just just get up this hill." And that was a really cool moment for me because I mean I've looked up to Jackie for like a long time, and
Yeah.
it was cool to have like someone you look up to like in that
Have that
moment, like,
belief in you. Yeah.
come on, get going.
Hmm.
And so like going down like the final 3 or 4 miles, like I could feel the body like starting to like really get on closer and closer to the limit. The vision was going in,
Oh
and
my goodness.
like the last mile, like I heard a split that was like the biker behind me. I don't know if she was supposed to say anything, but she was like, she kind of whispered, she's like, he's half a block behind, and I was like,
Oh my
oh,
goodness.
okay, shit. And I couldn't look back. I knew if I looked back, like you're
Over. It's
done.
over.
Yeah, it shows weakness, and you can't stop at that loud aid station. Like you just have to run through it, and it's all downhill. So like
Yeah.
the pace looks pretty good, but you're just like suffering. And I was like, I'm not looking back until that last turnaround, which is like
Hmm.
800 meters from the finish, because then you can actually see him. And I saw him. I was like, okay, there's enough of a gap, and it kind of gave me a bit of a second wind. I
Yeah.
was like, I could push, 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 and then like when I got to the line, I was like, oh, I made it, like, and there was nothing left. Like I was just
Yeah.
begging for water, like,
Yeah.
and then it was really a real difficult 2 hours after the race, which just like I've never quite gone that hard before.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to know that's inside of you. Like
Mm.
there is another
Another
few
gear.
percent, even though you're like, well, I went as hard as I can. It's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
I you didn't have that.
Yeah, you can keep pushing. And I mean, missing the nutrition obviously is a huge piece, getting dehydrated. And then, like you said, the 2 hours afterwards, I assume it was so bad just because you were probably feeling nauseous trying to get in anything, but it's just a hassle. Like, were you really in a bad way, sodium wise as well?
Yeah, I was just throwing up for a long time after the race,
Oh, dude, I
and
hate that
then
feeling.
yeah, and then I was trying to also take in fluids because the you have to go over to drug testing
Yeah.
and trying to pee, and then there's
Yeah,
nothing
good luck.
there except like just stomach problems, and then there was like a bit of blood.
Oh,
Too,
shoot.
too much information, but the medics came, and then I was just like, because you're drug testing, someone has to watch you the whole time in the bathroom, and they're like, don't pee because you have to save it for the bottle. Um, yeah, so but I got to chat with Lionel Sanders and Sam Long, and that was really cool. That was a cool moment to see both of those guys kind of like in their more natural element, like
Yeah.
just
Shooting it,
chatting like guys.
shooting it
Yeah.
up. Yeah. What did you talk about? Like, what were you, what kind of questions did you ask? Or was it just painful listening?
No, I was asking the questions. I was just asking Lionel about like just just kind of his training philosophy, like how he's doing his own thing, and then just kind of asked him about like if he's going to Europe at all, and talked a little bit about that, and like kind of training for a course like Nice, which is so hard technically. Like you
Mm-hmm.
need that experience on the open road,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was really cool to chat to Lionel. He has so much information in the sport, and like you wish you could just uh, have dinner with him for a few hours and
Yeah.
really, really learn.
Yeah. You should invite him out to dinner, him and Tim.
I know, I'd love to, but yeah, I got to get down to Tucson first or
Yeah.
wherever he's at.
Well, that's where everybody is in the winter. Have you ever considered going down there?
I have. I've just gone to Girona previously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I need to check it out.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. Like, everyone goes to Tucson. I've gone there for the past couple of years just for a week to hang out with Mark Dubrick. And it's actually not even that great of a place to train, if I'm being completely honest. Like, the roads aren't that great, with the exception of Mount Lemon. Mount Lemon's amazing. The swimming's nice because you have like the big Oro Valley Aquatic Center that's right there at the base of Lemon. But like, honestly, other than the temperatures, it's really not that great. But that's just
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. Maybe
that's
they
what
have
I've
to say
heard
something
too.
different. Yeah, yeah,
And I think I'd rather train in St. George. The training
yeah,
there was incredible. The
yeah.
roads were nice. I was training the lakes there were super clear and clean.
Gorgeous. Yeah, I haven't
Hmm.
been yet, but so speaking of St. George, that leads me to my next question. Mr. Nicholas Chase the CEO of RTS lives there. Tell me how you first got in contact with Nick and RTS, and yeah, just being on the team. Like, what's the experience been so far?
Yeah, last year, I forget where it was. I think it was like 70.3 Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the team was there, and I got to meet all of them.
Nice.
And it was just like a friendly, fun dynamic, and you can tell kind of the vibe of a team based on like how everyone's interacting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone there was just like really relaxed, really fun, and they were like actually supportive of each other. Where some teams it's like, it's kind of it's not really supportive. It's like I would rather win and beat
Yeah,
you
yeah,
than
yeah.
like be nice.
It's
But
a little
everyone,
two-facedness.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I just got a really good vibe from the RTS team, and so I started to talk with Nick at the end of last year, and then just we had like pretty similar partners already, and I wanted to try like the Blue 70 wetsuit and then the Fast TT bars and Zoo and all those partners. And yeah, I figured it would just be a really fun team to join, and it has been. It's been great.
Yeah. Did you go to the Cozumel camp at the beginning of the year?
No, I didn't. I got a little sick at the beginning of the year.
Oh,
So
shoot.
yeah. And I was
Next year?
also yeah, I was trying to get ready for Ironman New Zealand, so
Yeah.
it was a little a little too
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, 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 for sure. No, that makes sense. Well, assuming you're on the team next year, are you probably going to go?
Yes, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I love Cozumel.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been
Not
yet.
the Ironman, but
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, cool. Well, it'll be fun to hopefully get to meet you in person there, if not before. Actually, let me just ask, are you doing Santa Cruz 70.3 by chance?
I was looking at it. I was making my schedule actually this morning.
Okay.
It really depends on. I have a world championship slot for 70.3 worlds.
Yeah.
I need one for Nice. Um, and if I get one for Nice, then I think I'll stay in Europe until 70.3 worlds after Boulder.
Yeah.
And just because it's I noticed like guys that go over to Europe from the US really struggle if like they go in race week. And the same thing for the European guys coming here. And I've seen it play out too many times, and myself included,
Yeah.
like going over there and trying to race right after travel. You think you fine until race day, and then you're missing a few percent,
Hmm.
which really shows.
Yeah.
So I would rather just be in Girona. I love the area, and yeah, and then really prepare well for Nice, and just be on that course for the month beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Hmm. So let me ask you this question. Now that you're here, like you have a part to play in this sport, what does in your mind success look like for this career? Like what are you shooting for?
I want to be competitive with the best in the world. Like I want to show up. I don't really care what like if if I win little races. Like I want to win the biggest races possible when I'm at the best in my career. And I think the way you do that is by showing up to the biggest races
Mm.
when you're young in your career. And constantly knowing where the level's at, I think it's critical because I think you could fool yourself and maybe show up to races where the top guys aren't there. And and then you could get this false sense of where the level's at.
Mm.
And you have to show up to the top races where the guys are ready as well, where they've spent like time preparing for them.
Hmm.
And that's kind of dictated my philosophy a bit, like especially with making the calendar for this year. Like I want to show up to Frankfurt and I want to show up to Lake Placid in the Ironman Pro Series races, where guys are really they've spent the time preparing and they're ready for these races.
Yeah. What does that look like in terms of, creating your training plan? Like, let's just say you go to a race like St. George. Obviously, you get a sense for where the level's at based on swim times, bike power and time, run times. Do you then go and create like a new goal for a specific time period for a training block? Like, okay, I'm going to work up to, this many efforts at this power or this run pace, and and then I'll judge how I'm doing based on reaching that? Or do you have like every year just a different number you're shooting for? Like, how does that practically look for you?
It's a bit of both. It's like it. Of course, you train to your ability. You can't train off random numbers. Like, like for example, I don't know. I heard on a podcast today that someone did, I think, 380 watts for a 70.3. And like knowing myself, I'm like if I went and trained for that, I don't know if I would get the best results. Or if I just train to my numbers and just train to progress the most I can, if that makes sense. Where you're not overtraining, you're training to your abilities. And
Mm-hmm.
I think if you train to your abilities and train like for that constant improvement, then eventually you can get to the levels you want.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to first really like know where you're at and kind of emotionally detach yourself. Like I'm training here and here and here and here and here, and down the road, I'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm really working on my bike endurance because I noticed Ironman. The fresher you come off the bike in an Ironman, the better you'll do because you have a whole marathon to run guys down. And if
It's a long time.
yeah, and if you can be like say 70% of your FTP versus 80% of your FTP, I feel like that makes a
Bigger difference for
huge,
run.
huge difference. Even if the bike split's the exact same, just that level of freshness really, really plays a big factor.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting because for your specific training, because you're coaching yourself, if you have something prescribed in the plan and you feel that day just a little bit off, do you typically push through, or do you pause and maybe scratch it, scheduling change up for another day, or just skip it, or what do you do typically?
I always usually start the session because
Yeah,
I've had some of my best days where like the first 5 minutes I'm like, oh God,
this is
this is really
terrible.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then you get into it and then the blood starts going and you're like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Surprise yourself. Yeah, I've been there
Hmm.
many times for sure. Have you
Yeah.
ever been in the middle of a session though where it just feels really bad and you're like, this is not productive? Like you take a pause?
It's pretty rare now. Like
Yeah.
back
Good for
before, yeah, I would that would happen quite a few times a couple of years ago. But now I would say like I basically hit every session I prescribe. The only things I'll cut are easy stuff. Like if I have an
Mhm.
easy 4 mile run and I feel like it would be better to like go to bed and maybe have like a big meal, I feel like then that would be better to prepare for the session the following day.
Mm.
Yeah.
So whenever you go out to, maybe it's before a big key session or even before a race, what do you do to get in the zone?
Music is kind of an essential, but
Yeah.
I also like to I've kind of developed like little ways to get my body ready for a big session. Like for me, sometimes it's hard to eat enough, or I don't
Mm.
want to eat, and you kind of have to be like, you have to bake the cookies and eat all the cookies. And like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like having like that extra, I don't know, 2, 3 thousand calories on board, like it really does make a difference for the next day. Like carb
Mm.
loading like it tomorrow is a race, and kind of treating every day like you show up and you're ready for it, like you're ready for a race. Like I see some people that go into training and they kind of treat it like a job they don't really care about. Not
Mm.
I'm not to rip on anyone, but like they just kind of show up and maybe they're not fueled enough where they would never do that for a race. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's really essential to like think about like your caffeine intake, what like treat it like a race. These key sessions, and then you kind of learn the habits, and then you also dial in your race methods.
Mm. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Super
because I
fascinating.
used to do that where I would just put water in the bottles and be like, oh, I hit my 2 hours, perfect.
Mm.
Like, whereas like you have to have calories on, like you have to take in calories
Yeah,
to
for
be
sure.
ready for the swim in the evening or the run, and it's kind of like just really upping the level of like your training and nutrition, and like having a plan even for training days, like trying to hit a certain amount of carbs and like having the cadence right and like close to race equipment, and then you can really, like, I've found myself to do like really good sessions that way.
Mm. Whether it's like a 1 hour easy bike or hour and a half to 2 hours, or versus like a key threshold session or a run easy for an hour versus like an hour and a half threshold session, do you feel the same regardless of the session?
No, no, I don't. I think it would be, I think it would be unhealthy and probably like really hurt you in the long run if you tried to take in like 120 grams on a 1 hour easy ride.
Yeah, your body's not
But
using it. So
yeah, yeah. But if you have like say 3 or 4 hours close to Ironman pace, like yeah,
yeah,
that's when it's time to put in the
yeah.
calories. Like literally just have your exact race setup and then do it. Like do that exact setup.
Mm.
So that's what
Yeah,
I've been working on for my Ironman. Like I'm really focusing on Lake Placid,
yeah.
and that course, like it's a hilly, hard course.
Hmm.
So I just want to be like nail the nutrition now and
Yeah,
have all that experience. So when it shows up to race day, taking in those calories are natural. Having the bottles there, it's all like, yeah, you've done it. You've already been
yeah,
in that world.
yeah. Has anybody ever said, Colin, you're 23. Why are you trying to go after the Ironman, the big distances right now?
Yeah, yeah, all the time. Everyone
Yeah.
said that. Like ever since I was young, like I did my first Olympic distance when I was like 9, 8, 9, 10, somewhere on there.
Holy
Like I was
smokes. Yeah.
4 feet tall, but I was
Wow.
like, it's too young to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like unless you're not, if you're not getting injured and you stay healthy, like I don't really see a problem with it. And like uh, guys that now are winning the tour at 21,
Mm.
so it's like the tour is, it's almost
That's
it's
another
not.
level of insanity for in terms of volume. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And if you're trained for it and you're prepared, like I feel like it's it's not going to be that big of a problem. Like it's not going to kill your speed if you have
Hmm.
the willingness to like get on the track, you know, to get ready for a 70.3 or Olympic
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, for sure. So when you started this journey back when you were 19, some odd, 4 odd years ago, what is something that you would tell yourself that you wish you had known when you started this journey?
Stay the course and like stay stubborn. Like
Stay stubborn.
yeah, like because everyone has their opinion, and like some are right, of course, but some people are like, you know, they might not have the experience to really like know exactly what's going on.
Hmm.
And so like you kind of have to like stay true to your heart and be like, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. Um, and like even though someone might be older or more experienced, like if you have your reasons and you feel like they're valid, like do whatever that is. Like um, say it's like big training, little training. Like it could go both ways,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, really, truly could. So, for someone who is looking to consider getting into being a professional triathlete from a relatively young age, what kind of advice would you also give to them? Would it be very similar?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's hard because I've like I say I've been self-coached for these past 4 years,
Hmm.
but in the I don't know 15 years before that, I've had a dozen coaches, you know,
Mm.
where they've given me like years and years of experience in like my college running coach ran professionally for years, Amanda Rigo, and like learning those kind of things from her were like undoubtedly helped me throughout my career. Like injury prevention, how to actually do track workouts, how to run properly, all of those things. You you have to have good mentors. That's where
Mm.
like being stubborn, yeah, it's also a balance with like having having the right mentors around you who you trust, um, because that goes a long way. They're rare people to find, but once you find them, like make sure make sure you get as much from them as you can.
Hmm. How many key mentors do you have right now?
Um, a lot. Even even if say like I might not be in contact with Lionel Sanders,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still a mentor because of the way he does his own thing. The same thing with Sam Long, even though it's completely opposite training methods. And like, there's other people like um, that I have closer relationships with, other pros who have much, much more experience than me that I'm able to like get little bits of advice. Like Jackson Laundry comes to mind. Like he's been around the block. He's seen world
Mm-hmm.
championship fields again and again. And
Mm-hmm.
so like having these people around really really does make a big difference.
Hmm. That's cool, man. Well, first off, or I guess not first off, because I've said a lot of questions, but lastly, I should say thank you so much for sharing just so freely and how you have. I'm really excited for your future. I know Nick relatively well. I think I've had almost everybody from the RTS crew on the podcast once or twice. So it's fun to have met you now officially and get to know somebody else from that team. But I wish you all the best. Looking forward to continuing to follow you along. I know you got Chattanooga coming up. By the time this airs, it'll be already have passed. So we'll look forward for people can go check out and see how you did. But looking forward to seeing how you continue to progress, man. And whatever we can do to continue to support you, I will make sure to do that.
Cool. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah, man.
It
Thank
was
you so
a
much
great
for
time.
making the time. Yeah, awesome.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
Thank you so much to Colin for jumping on the pod and allowing me to dive into his life and hear about all of the many adventures he's been on across the world and the in-depth dive for how he was able to enjoy his breakthrough race at St. George was pretty cool as well. Wishing him all the best and the whole RTS team. If you made it to this point in the podcast, just want to say thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. Check out the show notes for any any links in the description for any of the sponsors and stuff that we may have going on there. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can do that also in the show notes at the stupidquestions.show website. If you are watching or listening on YouTube, thanks for being here. If you could like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, that really helps to continue to grow this podcast. And if you are listening on any of the podcast platforms, if you could also like, comment, review, and subscribe if that's what it's called. Give it a follow. Really appreciate that. It helps to continue to grow it. As I've said, I love doing this, guys. Really thank you so much for listening. And thanks again to Colin and the RTS team for making this episode happen.